Thank you, Doug. Yeah, we wanted to tell you two things. After 2015, we had a good year for missions at Community Christian Church. We had the last mission offering was on June 28th, and we were able to maintain the core missions, we call it. We support 8 people, 8 different missions. Some not so much, but we support them. And we were able to do that and even more and so this will really be a boon to the missions to be able to do some things that we wouldn't do ordinarily. But I wanted to tell you 2 things that happened this year that are highlights for me anyway. In November, Jim, come out here, Jim Castro. He was the leader of the Kairos weekend at the Terrell Prison Unit in Rosharon, Texas. It was a great weekend. It really went well. It's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to see hardened criminals come in there and in a few days they're hugging and crying. That don't happen in prisons. And a lot of you are there. I think Mike was working at it. Wiesenans, wave your hand there. They were working on it. Barb, were you? Barb was there, I think. If you were there, raise your hand. And there were several. Yeah, Robin was there working. Jim, I wanted him. I didn't tell him ahead of time, but tell him about the chairs, because remember the congregation, we used part of that to buy some chairs that time.
Yeah, this started almost 2.5 years ago, and in the missions committee, when I was asked to lead this team, I sat down with the chaplain to figure out what the needs of the unit are. I've talked about this before in front of the church, so I'll say it again, just a reminder. This unit started 1,600 inmates in this unit, and when we started, when we first went in there, their church services were 20 people for 1,600. And we started, and this new chaplain came on board. He says, our greatest need right now is Bibles and chairs. And chairs I go, chairs? Why do you need chairs? He says, because we don't have chairs for our service. We have these rundown benches that we have to pull aside and use. And right now, I would love to get 300 chairs. I said, well, through the help of this church and 15 other churches, we received enough monies to purchase 300 chairs for that unit. You talk about planning a church. That's planning a church, because currently now they have over 450 people, inmates, going to that services. Numerous different types of services. As a chaplain, you deal with Catholic, Protestant, Baptist, you name it, it's there. So how moving it was to see that process moving and going forward. And it was directly impacted from this church stepping up when I asked, I just needed $20 a chair. And numerous people, not only in the missions committee, but in this congregation, supplied that. So we supplied almost a third of the chairs for that unit in this congregation. I could talk a lot about Kairos and about what it's meant to me and what it meant to these men, but I just want to sum up it all into one thing that happened. This last Monday, we had a board meeting. And just like everyone during this season, sometimes it's an up and down season. I come in prior to, and I was coming into the board meeting, and I was going, oh man, not another board meeting. I'm just going to be straight with you, okay? Not another board meeting. I'm going to sit here. And then before I get in there, I go to my mailbox, and I go grab a letter that I get, and it's from the warden of that unit, okay? I've never received a letter, a card from a warden. And I open it up, and it says, Merry Christmas to you and your family. But then he hand-wrote a page to me about the impact of that weekend to his unit. And he said, what a blessing it was to see God in our faces. What a blessing it was to see the men and the impact of his unit. How could you help but read that and not be lifted? And I said, how silly it is that I'm sitting here and the Lord says, when you're down, here you go. Lift up. You're a steward. You're a disciple. And I'm that kind of guy that the Lord has to put that in front of. I don't ask for rewards. I don't ask for anybody to pat me on the back. But the Lord keeps on doing it. We have a good God. But God, then we can do great things. So that motivates me to do and see the things when you see something like that happen. But I couldn't have done that without the support of this church. With the men and women that showed up on the weekend, the men and women that donated either money to cookies or chairs, none of it could have happened without each one of you stepping up and sitting where you're sitting right now. We're not that big of a church, but I'll tell you what, out in that community, out in that world, we make a huge impact. When you have 24 men going through something, 50 men have went to other prisons and went through Kairos weekends. We had 24 going towards this weekend. Tell me anywhere else in the world where you have 74 men that have went through the possibility of a weekend, and you have 69 of them showing up. I've been to numerous units. You don't have that kind of support. And then you have and see in their eyes that they're not, I'm not kidding myself, they're not perfect, but they're trying to find and move in a direction and be more like God. That's tremendous. That's huge. It couldn't have been done without you guys.
Thank you, Jim. The other thing we wanted to tell you about, try to go to one of those. Ask Jim or Tom or whoever to go to a closing or something. Maddie and Jimmy, come up here. This is the other thing we want to tell you. This is Maddie Neal. This is Jimmy, your dad, of course, and you know him. But this is a real victory today, is because over how long ago was it, Maddie? A year and a half ago, Maddie read something and it touched her heart that children in other parts of the world do not have clean water and they become sick. And she told her dad she wanted to do something about it, and she did. And she started working on that, and we call it now Maddie's Well. And the VBS kids gave. She had a pancake dinner. Her dad helped her with the various projects. She raised $550. When you all heard about it, we did this before, back in June. We announced it, and the checks come in. And the church gave $4,300 over a period of time. And the people now, the Living, what's the name of the company?
Living Water International.
Living Water International, Stafford, Texas, they threw in an extra 100. They said, just send us the money, we'll get the well drilled. And I think they're going to drill it in India.
Correct.
Is that right? In a village. And it's just an amazing feat. I think it's a Christmas story, don't you? So, thank you very much.